Hello there, epic TimeBase Net here. Today we're gonna talk about mermaids. Mermaids, those half-human, half-fish sirens of the sea, are legendary sea creatures chronicled in maritime cultures since time immemorial. The ancient Greek epic poet Homer wrote of them in the Odyssey. In the ancient Far East, mermaids were the wives of powerful sea dragons, and served as trusted messengers between their spouses and the emperors on land. The Aboriginal people of Australia call mermaids Yorks, a name that may refer to their mesmerizing songs. The belief in mermaids may have arisen at the very dawn of our species. Magical female figures first appeared in cave paintings in the late Paleolithic, Stone Age, period some 30,000 years ago, when modern humans gained dominion over the land and, presumably, began to sail the seas. Half-human creatures, called chimeras, also abound in mythology, in addition to mermaids. There were wise centaurs, wild satyrs, and frightful minotaurs, to name but a few. But are mermaids real? No evidence of aquatic humanoids has ever been found. Why, then, do they occupy the collective unconscious of nearly all seafaring peoples? That's a question best left to historians, philosophers, and anthropologists. In folklore, a mermaid is an aquatic creature with the head and upper body of a female human and the tail of a fish. Mermaids appear in the folklore of many cultures worldwide, including the Near East, Europe, Asia, and Africa. In ancient Assyria, the goddess Atargatis transformed herself into a mermaid out of shame for accidentally killing her human lover. Mermaids are sometimes associated with perilous events such as floods, storms, shipwrecks, and drownings. In other folk traditions, or sometimes within the same tradition, they can be benevolent or beneficent, bestowing boons or falling in love with humans. The male equivalent of the mermaid is the merman, also a familiar figure in folklore and heraldry. Although traditions about and sightings of mermen are less common than those of mermaids, they are generally assumed to coexist with their female counterparts. The male and the female collectively are sometimes referred to as merfic. The conception of mermaids in the West may have been influenced by the sirens of Greek mythology, which were originally half bird-like, but came to be pictured as half fish-like in the Christian era. Historical accounts of mermaids, such as those reported by Christopher Columbus during his exploration of the Caribbean, may have been sightings of manatees or similar aquatic mammals. While there is no evidence that mermaids exist outside folklore, reports of mermaid sightings continue to the present day. Mermaids have been a popular subject of art and literature in recent centuries, such as in Hans Christian Andersen's literary fairy tale, The Little Mermaid, 1836. They have subsequently been depicted in operas, paintings, books, films and comics. Locals and tourists in the Israeli town of Kiryat Yam have been flocking to the coast in hopes of glimpsing a creature that most people believe only exists in fairy tales. An alleged mermaid, said to resemble a cross between a fish and a young girl, only appears at sunset. It performs a few tricks for onlookers before disappearing for the night. One of the first people to see the mermaid, Shlomo Cohen, said, "I was with friends when we suddenly saw a woman laying on the sand in a weird way. At first I thought she was just another sunbather. But when we approached her, jumped into the water and disappeared. We were all in shock because we saw she had a tail." It's not clear what people are seeing, though the power of suggestion and imagination can be strong. Identifying animals in water is inherently problematic, since eyewitnesses by definition are only seeing a small part of the creature. When you add in the factor of low light at sunset and the distances involved, Positively identifying even a known creature can be very difficult, to say nothing of a mythological one. P.T. Barnum's Mermaid. Hoaxes have worked to satisfy the public's appetite for mermaids. The fact that none have ever actually been found is only a minor inconvenience. The Great Showman P.T. Barnum introduced a mermaid to a astounded crowd in the 1840s. His infamous Fiji mermaid, actually a taxidermy fake. The head and torso of a small monkey were grafted onto the body and tail of a fish. It was bizarre and strange, certainly nothing anyone had seen before, but a far cry from the banners and posters suggesting a beautiful, half-naked woman. Unlike images of mermaids in folklore and popular culture, such mermaids were unattractive, often described as hideous. In his autobiography, Barnum described the mermaid as an ugly, dried-up, black-looking diminutive specimen, about 3 feet long. Its mouth was open, its tail turned over, and its arms thrown up, giving it the appearance of having died, in great agony. With most of our blue planet covered by water, it's little wonder that, centuries ago, the oceans were believed to hide mysterious creatures including sea serpents and mermaids. Merfolk, mermaids and mermen, are, of course, the marine version of half-human, half-animal legends that have captured human imagination for ages. One source, the Arabian Nights, described mermaids as having moon faces and hair like a woman's, but their hands and feet were in their bellies and they had tails like fishes. Mermaids may be ancient, but they are still with us in many forms. Their images can be found all around us in films, books, Disney movies, at Starbucks, and maybe even in the ocean waves if we look close enough. That's all for today, folks. Thank you for the existing subscriber and welcome to the new subscriber. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Hope to see you again. Epic TimeBase Net signing out.